not really a lot here to do.
So the other thing I do is when I do that, I'll show you in a minute, but we have to put down who's there. So I just write them up in
On railroad?
So, all right, is Frank, Jackie. And Russ is here.
Oh, you didn't bring your, you didn't bring your computer, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did?
Well, I'm not gonna.
Oh, you're not sure. And I couldn't,
Well, it was Jim Silver. Last time I looked was,
the state website was
Oh,
having security. I mean, it said, state website is not secure. Please be aware.
because I know
I don't know if you could ask for, since, I guess, a couple of years ago, last time. I looked to see what's
really nice to you.
Jim.
You just have to be nice to
You were right.
And then you
What the
can
property
be as mean
was.
as you want, or you can
It's
just talk
actually-
and start out mean.
You go on West on Franklin, sure. Just off.
She's going to be crazy.
So it's just,
Did you clean those today?
Just making sure it
Did
works.
you wipe them out?
You gotta bring yours around. No, no.
Didn't clean them off, huh?
But it's only a big. Why?
Oh, it's turned around the other way. It's taking the body, I need to get that microphone down.
Is, Mr. Dillon coming this evening?
I don't think so. I don't know. He hasn't, he's not here today. He's not here. He's not here today, he took the day off. Was he?
Look into something.
What'd you do with Todd?
Making some coffee for us.
Russ, by the way, nice to meet you. I'm the
Nice to meet
quiet
you
one.
too. You're the quiet one?
Yeah, quiet, yeah. Psych.
I know, but I get that.
You see, look at, we're newsworthy.
She's down at your.
That's a new tagline, newsworthy.
And now Jane, she's not there. I think we're very much. I put Jane's name down and said Christine. Well, yeah, because that, for a while there, she got, used to get left off.
Wouldn't do much good if it did, I think. I complained to the wife today after laying gravel on the driveway, laying gravel down the driveway, when I shoveling and moving it around. I'm pretty sore tonight, and she says, well, you got a meeting to go to, where, how come you're sitting here? Oh, shit. I'd set it up for, I just forgot what night it was, I forgot last week, I was over with doctor, we told me for, I'm gonna have another night down, I got a couple of veins in my leg, for the killing, so he fixed it. fix, he's gonna fix another one here next month, so. We can fix so that it have it bothering me, it hurts, when you lay at night, it hurts, it's not worth it, you know, go down and get it fixed. So, yeah, so.
All right, we'll go ahead and call the zoning commission meeting to order. Jackie, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we dive into the agenda, I'll just go ahead and remind everybody, I don't think there's anybody new here, of the note that's on the agendas that states with the current COVID-19 situation and with the restrictions on meetings and amount of people attending meetings in close proximity, I'll just read that. The City of Dillon understands that citizens have the right under the Montana Constitution and participate in local governmental affairs by personally attending all public meetings of the Dillon City Council and other city boards and committees. The City of Dillon encourages those who are not directly involved in the projects to participate by using Zoom. Please contact the City of Dillon for instructions of how to connect to the City of Dillon Zoom site. This helps with following the guidelines established by the Public Health Board of distancing and group number limitations. And I bring that up because we're approaching the number that was discussed last meeting of 15. So if we get to that point, we were directed by the city attorney to recess it until we can meet that. So right now we're good, but that was the direction that we had last time. So with that, we'll move forward, and we don't have any minutes to approve, so we just don't move past that.
Well, before that though, we have a introduction to make. Christina, and I apologize, I do not know your last name.
Really, I've been here how long?
Other than harasser, Christina Harasser
She's gonna do well.
is looking at taking Diane's spot as taking the notes, minutes, the right-hand man. So we'd like to welcome her this evening. And also,
No
well,
speech. We're
before,
pretty sure we're silent.
before she did her speech, though, we also need to thank Diane. Now it's her turn to give us a speech.
Oh, no.
No, probably not. Yeah, she'd say too much.
Speech.
Well, those are big shoes to fill there, Christina, just so you know.
Yeah, well,
Diane's done a great
I won't
job.
try and fill. We'll just help her.
She'll do really well.
Well, good. We're excited for you, Diane.
Oh, thank you.
You get a few more evenings to yourself.
At home, yep.
Yeah, good. All right, so next item on the agenda would be the Director of Operations report, Mr. Hazelbaker.
I don't really have anything major to report other than kind of busy with fences and sheds. That seems to be the ongoing projects that are going on in this community. But something I do like to bring up though, there is a new archery range in the Andrews Hotel. One of the things for their requirements in zoning regulations city is that they get approval from the police department. And Officer Ian helped establish it, helped build it, and during that process, he made sure they followed all the regulations. And then 2 days before she opened, he went back down and again went through all the regulations and things with her. So they gave her a thumbs up for safety, so she does meet all the zoning regulations.
Sounds like some good news.
Yeah,
New business.
she does.
Hope
She
they do
does
well. Yeah. Awesome. So the next portion of the agenda would go to, what was
I
that?
got a quick question. Are you making any progress on your letters you sent out on the fences and such and so forth?
No. I have not. But I need to.
I don't know if you had 100% compliance and you filled everything out.
No.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other questions for Todd at this time? All right, we'll proceed on. First certificate would be certificate number 2020006, Southside Development.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved by Raymond, seconded by Russ. Discussion?
In your packet is a new drawing showing the entrance. I was also presented one today showing an alternative entrance. Mr. McKenzie, would you like one? As you see, they show the one that's in your packet shows the entrance coming in off of State Street and exiting out on Barrett Street, and the one I handed you shows both exits and entrance coming off of State Street. And also they put on their landscape around proposed office will be asphalt. I know that was a question that came up. And then also it's going to be an office building, is an office building. It's basically the same design that's over here. Mr. Herb has no intention of putting in restaurants or anything like that. It's strictly going to be professional office building.
Any further discussion? Everyone answers the questions we had from last meeting. All right, we'll go ahead and open certificate number 2020006 up for public comment at this time. All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment on applications or certificate number 2020006.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for. All those in favor of approving certificate number 2020006, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, passes unanimous. All right, next up would be certificate number 2020022A.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Russ, seconded by Jackie. Discussion?
Mr. Wendland has come back with a new proposal for this project from the last meeting. Really the only difference is instead of going forward with new lots, a new plan with those, he's just putting them on the current lot setup. Lots, was it the north half of lot 2, and then full lots of 3, 4, and 5. And within your package, you have those drawings.
I guess the only thing, one of the big questions we had that Jim was gonna look up for is whether or not he needed a trailer court license. Now, I've actually got a copy or had a copy, and been working, I guess I should have, in the state law, and it's pretty clear that it don't matter if there's 100 different lots, if they're all contingent to each other and owned by the same person, that license is required. I don't know.
And I guess from I couldn't find anywhere in our zoning document that we regulate the state's law on that. As far as I could see, that it was, as long as he met the requirement of the setbacks and that, then he would, if there are laws that the state requires, they would be the ones that are responsible to investigate that. That was my way that I saw that. But I couldn't see anywhere in our zoning document where it said that.
For the trailer court requirements?
That we are the ones that monitor whether or not there is a requirement by the state.
The county does that. And I tried to contact Mr. Wagonette several times, because I know he's the one that can keep for those records, and he's not able to visit with him.
And where there's existing trailers sitting in there, that he currently owns the lots.
Right. But it's
There's no
listed, it's listed as a trailer court on the tax thing.
Mhm.
And I thought, I'm almost positive in our zoning book it requires a trailer court for an license.
I'm not familiar with it, to be honest with you, so.
There's actually a state law that allows you to put a house on an independent parcel.
Eric, would you like to stand up?
And please speak up.
Eric Wentman, 140 South Boatman Street, 76-8-103, building for lease or rent. A building created for lease or rent on a single tract of land is exempt from the provisions of this part. So you can have houses that are independent residents on independent tracts of land for lease, rent, or sale.
But are these houses or are these mobile homes?
They're manufactured homes on a permanent
They're
foundation.
gonna go on a foundation and be a house.
There's even a preliminary engineered foundation for it.
In your package, yeah, there's a copy of the foundation.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Has everyone in here at this point, they would drove by and looked at the project and seen what's currently there and what he is proposing to do as obviously this plan? So it's pretty, I guess it's pretty evident by what I see that this is a huge upgrade to what is currently in there, and this will be utilizing that land, to its fullest potential for what that area has to offer. So I guess to me, I look at it like that's what's in there currently, and he owns the land currently, and this will be an improvement over what is currently in there. So, and I guess I couldn't see in there where we have to make sure people have a license before we can issue a permit on that. That was what I was looking for, but I would not claim to be an expert on everything in the book either. So. Any other discussion at this time?
Well, I'm assuming that all the sidewalks will be poured within a year and,
There's not, the street, you want to improve the street, I think it's a
I
sidewalk.
don't think the law says anything about an improved street. I think the law says sidewalks.
And not about street, but yeah, the sidewalk does need.
All right, we'll go ahead and open up certificate number 2020022A for public comment at this time.
Ed Mooney, I guess, for what it's worth, I'm still confused. I thought I had it figured out when I saw the new plat, but it's not clear that they are on individually platted lots. And if it is a trailer court, which it currently is shown as a trailer court, then it does have to follow the state laws, and that includes statements about layout and some other things. And as far as whether zoning requires it or not, I believe the code says that all developments have to satisfy all state and other applicable laws. And I think that's stated in the zoning. So it's, I think that still is maybe unresolved. I noticed driving by there that there are a couple of pads poured for two of them, and there are two houses sitting there. I don't know, are they both on individual lots that are shown on the plat there? It's not clear if there's 20-foot clearance, and if the door is on the side of the house on the south end, even if it fits the setbacks with the steps coming out, it'd be almost unworkable. But the applicable codes that are the administrative rules, Title 37, Chapter 111, Subchapter 2 for mobile home courts. Sounds like Raymond's pretty familiar with that. I guess one way to resolve whether it's a mobile home court or not might have to do with the sanitation and the water. If they actually each have individual services and meters and all that kind of stuff, like you would expect for a house. They do, yeah. Then that might weigh in on the decision. But that's just a couple of comments that I think it's there's still some open questions maybe on what's going on, but that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment at this time? All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment on certificate number 2020022A.
Mr. Stoker?
I have a question on zoning. Since I haven't been here that often for a while, I might have forgotten, but from what I kind of remember, wasn't it if you put it on a foundation, take away the wheels and all that, and it's a manufactured house, it actually turns into a house?
Yes.
So it's not a trailer court anymore.
Right, but last time he was here, he said, and
Oh,
correct me if I'm
it's
wrong.
changed, it changed.
Right, but and this is what caused the trailer court issue, is he stated that he was going to rent the house with the possibility of selling the house and then renting the ground the house is on.
Well, that wouldn't happen this time either.
That won't make that, it's no longer that would make it a mobile home park to do something like that.
Right. But if you
But
put
if he's
it
gonna
down-
build a house, put it on a foundation, it'd be one lot on one house. I mean, I haven't got an issue with any of that, so.
Yeah. Because all the rules I've been hearing being quoted is trailer house stuff.
Right, well,
And it's not a trailer anymore if the, not even a trailer house that you bring in, you
Right.
brought in manufacturing.
Right.
Which I know there's a lot of subtleties
Right.
between the
Well,
differences, but.
Right. And to me, one of the subtle differences was he's gonna sell the house separate from the land.
And it sounds like that has not, that's changed, correct?
Mr. Wetland, direct that question.
It's irrespective. You could keep the land or sell the house. It could still get financed in the 30 year because it's a manufactured home on a permanent foundation. So you can sell the house and the lot. You can keep the lot. I mean, it's the point is this was put in 1993 and it was done by the law. It was never licensed as a trailer park because all those lots are independent parcels. So if you put a house on 25-foot wide lot, it's already got water and sewer. It doesn't have to be used. What your guys are hung up on is that the tax department is taxing that property as a trailer park. It was never licensed as a trailer park. We haven't changed any of the use. They all have independent water and sewers. Lawfully, you can set a manufactured house on a permanent foundation. You can sell the house alone on a permanent foundation with a rented lot, and there's HUD financing for that on a 30-year mortgage. Or you can sell the land and the house with a HUD loan on a 30-year mortgage. I mean, You could keep the houses on a permanent foundation, it's just like having 3 or 4 houses in a row. So,
I mean, I suppose you could sell just the house that's been done around here, even a stick-built house. It's on a foundation, you sell it, somebody comes in with a trailer and moves it off the property. And moves it off the property and goes somewhere else, and there's no real big difference between those.
Well, because you don't wanna move the house off, you want to sell the lot, you want to sell the house and rent the lot to them. That's a big difference. You can sell the house and move the house, yes. I mean, I've happened 100 times, sell the house, get the house away and move it. I've never heard of anybody selling a house and then renting the ground the house is set onto. Because once the property is once you attach a house to a piece of property, that becomes the ownership of the property.
manufactured homes are either titled or detitled. So if they're titled, you could own a manufactured home. The foundation portion is based for the loan. In order to get a HUD loan, you have to have a permanent foundation, whether the unit is titled or detitled. So you can detitle the unit and attach it to the ground, or you can leave the title to the unit and still have it on a permanent foundation on the lot.
If it's titled, I would consider that a mobile home.
It's a manufactured home because it's made after 1976, and there are actually a lot of laws that you may want to look into for that prevent housing discrimination against
We're not
manufactured.
discriminating against housing, we're just saying there's a different standard for a mobile home or a manufactured home, and that, I mean, it's getting all confusing because of what the state did on their deal, but I would think one distinguished difference, if you leave it as a title, they title mobile vehicles, motor vehicles, mobile homes, titled campers have titles.
I think you're confused.
Well, the way I understand it, if it's titled, it goes under personal property. And if it's untitled, it goes under real property.
Right.
And so it's assigned to the ground as real property versus title means you can take it any time. And that's kind of where it comes into, is it a mobile home or not? Is if it's titled, then it's a mobile home, kind of, or manufactured that's movable.
I could complicate it a little more.
Okay.
The state defines specifically includes manufactured homes in the definition of a trailer, in the mobile home, or in the trailer court administrative rules. They specifically include manufactured homes. And I don't know whether they're skirted or not, has anything to do with it. It looks like they're gonna be skirted, the way it's set up over now.
Okay, send messages and all that. And, yeah, it was Jim and Todd working.
See, that was the big hold up the last meeting is, does it require a license, is it a mobile home? Or is it not a mobile home, because I see I mean, I'm not an expert on that, and there's how many different rules and regulations. The state says it can be or it can't be, so.
We'll detitle the property. They'll be permanently fixed to the real property.
Makes it easy.
There you go.
Thank you.
Less taxes for the citizens, thanks. Just on a personal note, those that dealt detailing the title stuff. Okay, Paul.
What's that?
Less taxes, my friend. Title versus detitle on permanent land.
Well, it'll be taxed as a house, I would assume. It's real property.
Yeah, I said that's my account for the last 10 years.
I don't know. I don't worry about what taxes you're going to do.
So truly looking at the layout, Eric, I have to applaud you putting the parking in the rear because they're asking for sidewalks in the front. That's a health and safety issue, so thank you.
Any more discussion?
Call for question.
Question's been called for by Russ. All those in favor of approving certificate number 2020022A, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimous. All right, moving on to certificate number 2020023A.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Russ, seconded by Jackie. Discussion?
I think the same concerns, but if he's going to make a new house, that will,
Leaving that. Okay. All right, so something over here? All right, we'll go ahead and open up certificate number 2020023A for public comment at this time.
Yeah, Ed Mooney, I forgot the parking last time. Did he move it to the alley or is it still coming out all up in front?
The alley.
And Cheryl's too in town.
Yeah, that was a little confusing. There's two in front, two in back.
And then during the house for sidewalks, you can't get across sidewalks, it's a health and safety issue.
And the, again, that trailer court business, the administrative rules, did talk about the front of the trailer. It had to face with a front elevation that looked like the front of the trailer. Driving by there earlier today, they do that. That's what I remember, the trailer houses that my wife and I lived in when we were getting started. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment this time?
Eric Wendland, 140 South Bozeman Street. Manufactured homes on individual lots. That's section of Dillon Code 1716-170. If you go to C and then 9, a manufactured home shall be located on the lot so that the home presents a primary entrance to the principal street frontage. Such primary entrance may be established by the presence of porches, overhangs, gables, and similar architectural features. So we've noted staircases facing Railroad Street on the maps. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Any other public comment this time?
Yeah, again, with the parking right up against the street, if it's gonna be that and not the parking shown in the alley, there is the rule about landscaping that 50% of the front yard is supposed to be in green too, so not just filled up with gravel and asphalt and so on.
of course, the front yard in this case is the 5-foot setback on the side of the trailer, because that's where the front door is facing.
No, the obvious front of the building is facing, the functional front with the gable and the windows and things. It is designed that way.
Because we had the same argument with these
Yeah.
apartments down here, if you think about what the obvious,
Well,
what the gables are with them.
Well, I think you know what the front elevation is, on a trailer in
I
particular.
don't know what the front ones down
no,
there, I
yeah.
guess.
But, so, in any case, the parking is probably not advisable on the front of the lot, let's say. So,
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment this time?
and that holds for all yards too. All the yards are supposed to be 50% green at least.
We have no district laws for parking in the front yard.
What do you say?
M1 allows for
I couldn't hear
it.
what you
M1
said.
allows, M1 district. M1 is manufacturing district, so
Industrial.
it allows for a smaller setback, which I personally think they should be 10 feet on everything, but M1's not that way, and so we have to follow the
Yeah,
M1.
the sides are small, right? The front.
So
Front's all-
we have to do what the book says, so that's what.
Any other public comment at this time? go ahead and close public comment on certificate number 2020023A. Any more discussion?
No, I just applaud for your parking. If you have a sidewalk, why the bejesus would you allow your owners to drive over a sidewalk? Just a health and safety issue. It doesn't matter what frickin' zone it is. It's humane, it's health and safety. And zoning seems to ignore it, so do a lot of our developers in this town. Just point of interest. Call for the question.
Question been called for. All those in favor of approving certificate number 2020023A, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimous. Next up, certificate number 2020024A.
Move to approve.
Been moved by Russ, seconded by Jackie. Discussion? Yes, first off, I would just say that, you know, I had asked Eric for a little bit clearer picture as to exactly how he was going to be accessing the property. It wasn't very clear to me last time. I went out with him and we went and drove and looked at it. And I see he put that on the plat there, just so that we have an idea as to where he's going to be accessing the property from. And definitely seems country. Are those little trees? Is that what those are? Oh, didn't touch. Good job there. But yeah, it's kind of back in there a ways. There's a lot of room, I guess, from a setback perspective. But so I appreciate having that picture there. Any other discussion this time? All right, we'll go ahead and open public comment for 2020024A. Open that up this time. All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment on certificate number 2020024A. Any more discussion on that?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for by Russ. All those in favor of approving certificate number 2020024A, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, passes unanimous. All right, moving on to certificate number 2020026.
Move to approve.
Moved by Russ.
Second.
Move down there, right in there, Jack. Give him a chance. Okay.
And with that, I have an additional drawing of the studio apartment that he plans on putting. Mr. Kennedy? Lewis, well, you've had a chance to look at, Mr. Lewis is looking at putting in a garage with a studio apartment above it. These are his plans. Currently, there is a old log shop garage there, and he's just looking at moving that. It's a unique piece of property because you got it's separated by the canal from his main property. I guess it's all one property, but the canal separates it into two distinct tracks. Entrance would be from the alley into the garage, but he also proposes putting in a driveway on the pavilion from the street on the left side of the garage apartment. He has visited with the canal company about their requirements, and you'll find some of those notes on his drawing. And he's going to do whatever he can do to save the rose bushes. He has to move, I think he's going to.
Any comments or discussion on this one?
Where's the entrance to the garage going to be?
From the alley?
I'm kind of confused, okay. It's going to be coming off the alley?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's only showing a 6-foot setback off the alley?
Yes.
So what is the reason why you don't have to have a 10-foot setback?
Well, I guess it's one of those that you can't go a 10-foot setback.
So the driveway is on the alley, but not on Point Dexter where it says driveway next to the.
Well,
No, the garage.
the entrance into the garage.
For the studio, he's saying driveway would be off Point Dexter.
Yeah.
So he's going to put a parking spot, is what that is now?
Yeah, on the side of the side of the garage.
It's not going to be a,
And it looks like he's calling it a covered parking space, so he must be
Yeah.
putting like a little lean-to off the side of the shop. So I guess the biggest thing is he does show his parking for obviously the additional, space needed. But the real issue is the 6-foot side setback off the alley versus the 10-foot that's required. And I can see where he's having the issue with the alley, the canal there, needing the setback that they're requiring off of the canal. Any other comments at this time? Discussion? All right, so we'll open certificate number 2020026 up for public comment.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Mary Jo O'Rourke, and I live at 525 South Pacific Street, about 4 blocks, no, 3.5 blocks from this property. And I want to commend this young couple. They bought this property and they've improved it tremendously. And I love it that they're coming up with a a new way to put their garage. I too had some trepidations with the 6-foot setback off the alley, just because, so if we're all looking at our map, this alley goes straight up here and bumps into the canal and then starts again after the canal and goes to the end of the street. And it is an alley that is filled, I think I counted today, I think there's 7 power poles. There's several garbage cans. Yeah, I mean, it's a utility alley. And it needs to be remained that. There is an abandoned old car back there that hasn't been moved for over a year, which kind of drives the neighborhood crazy. But I think that this commission could agree, or I don't know, I'm not sure that that 6-foot setback, maybe a board of adjustments could agree to that, as long as he knew that that wasn't for parking, that you can't park in the alleyway. When I went by to look at this, I just happened to be there when some maintenance guys wanted to come in to mow Virginia Nelson's property, which is at the end of the block. And they couldn't get in because of the abandoned car that was there. So, you know, there is kind of an issue with that alley already. The part that I have a little trepidation with is more on the Poindexter side. This drawing doesn't show the sidewalk that needs to be included in here. And I'm worried about where it says driveway. That 10-foot driveway is actually the 10-foot setback. And we wouldn't want to have cars in a driveway right there. That's already an absolutely congested block. Any day when the university is in session, between 8 and 5 o'clock, you cannot find a parking place anywhere around there. The people who live there can't find a parking place in front of their own homes. That's a very congested area, and I walk that area. I walk up to go around the hospital trail every day, and that's one of those streets where you kind of have to just walk out in the middle of the street and dodge the cars, because there isn't a sidewalk along on that side of Poindexter. There is, the properties on the other side of the street have put in the sidewalks, but this particular property, the Kennedys, I'm sure people remember the Kennedys owned it, and they just hadn't, Dick just hadn't, he always said he was gonna put in a sidewalk, he just didn't ever get it done. But I want you to know that this family, they do fabulous work, they're truly an asset to our community, but I have a little bit of trepidation about the driveway on Poindexter and the lack of a plan for a sidewalk along that area. Thank you.
Just a couple things. That is just, it's not a through alley. It stops right there. When I visited with Mr. Lewis on site, the abandoned car has nothing to do with, it's not on his property, it's further down. There's only one other house back there that accesses off the alley. I've never heard any complaints about the car, so that's, we did visit about the sidewalk. He's aware of putting one in. Does cause a unique situation. He would have to work with the canal company to put it in because it raises up and then dips down and around. He has visited with them a little bit about that, so it would be a project where he would have to do it with the canal company because of the drainage, that type of stuff. So he's very much aware of that. Also, there is not a sidewalk on the Nelson property on that side. And he's aware of the setbacks. So just some additional points.
Any other public comment at this time?
Yeah, Ed Mooney, I'm having a little trouble. The drawings say 1 inch equals 20 feet. So if that's true, the one is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 120 feet in the one dimension. I don't think that's right, because he's got 21 by 30 for the garage on the one in the packet. So I think maybe the squares are 5 feet. Anyway, all that aside, it looks to me, I hate to say this, but it looks to me like what you guys have before you all the time. Somebody bought a lot and it wasn't big enough for what they wanted to do. So they're trying to squeeze something in that doesn't fit. And that's my 2 cents.
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment at this time?
Jim McIsaac. Just a quick comment regarding if an address change is appropriate, which I believe it is. This is in the 900 block on South Washington Street. If the address becomes Poindexter Street, you're gonna be in the 200 block on Poindexter Street.
Yeah, he put, no, I'm not sure where it came up with the 935, but we did talk about that address being changed to Poindexter.
That concludes my comment.
Any other public comment? All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment on certificate number 2020026. Discussion?
No, now I understand why the parking for the driveway is on the alley. Poindexter is a very busy street, growing up down there. Bertino's, ourselves, Schwartz's. A lot of traffic on that RV park. Nice RV park, I have to admit, but a lot of traffic down there. And at this point, formality and consistency, the 10 feet's not there.
Any other comments or discussion?
I remember, I don't remember the code number, but I do know it's in the zoning that you guys have the power to make the decision that if it does not, the requirements set aside for this chunk of ground, something doesn't fit, and they actually try to make it fit, you know, trying to fit as much as they can, but they might not make a couple parts. You guys have the authority to still make a finding that this would meet besides that, and it's acceptable.
That's for the lot that's on 50 mentioned. This lot is actually 115 wide. It's not our city's fault that there's a canal running through the middle of their lot. The reason it don't fit has nothing to do with the size of the lot, it has to do with the easement of the canal. The lot itself is big enough to fit a garage that big, so I don't think that would qualify as that rule is actually made for a good example of one of various little lots.
Highest and best use.
A pre-existing lot or something. This lot is already 100 feet by 115, I'm assuming. A standard lot is down there in
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's 115 deep, so the reason it can't meet the setback isn't the size of the lot, the size of the canal. So I don't think that would give us I think this would have to go through a variance to get out of the 6 feet.
That's 17.20.3.
If their property line was that canal, in fact, then he would have an argument, but I'm not too sure though that he couldn't make his parking 20 feet and couldn't screw over another 4 feet, still make it. You know, see what I'm talking about?
But moving over 4 feet, he's getting into what the canal wants to.
You know, I don't think he would, if he shortened it, if he shortened that to 20 feet rather than 25 feet.
Oh.
He's got a 25-foot parking spot.
A lot.
I see.
Yeah, really crazy drawings.
Any more discussion?
Call for the question.
Question been called for. All those in favor of approving certificate number 2020026, say aye. Opposed, nay.
Okay.
So that is unanimous.
Great project. Great way to get rid of the skunks that litter in that cabin.
Alright.
Well, I think we can.
All right, so we'll move on to certificate number 2020027.
Move to approve.
Been moved by Russ, seconded by Jackie. Discussion?
Ms. May, Mr. Tubbs would like to add a garage to the property down on Barnett Street. There's 2 homes that are now constructed there, and he'd like to put a garage on the one that faces Barnett Street.
Is this going between, I guess this other word says property line, that's Chestnut,
Yes,
right?
so the entrance to the garage would be off of Chestnut Street. There'd be 21 feet between the garage and the house. And his plans are, if approved, to build a garage and then put in the landscaping with planted grass.
And he's going to come off Chestnut, his doors on the front of the garage on Barnett in the drawing.
Where it says sidewalk, that's Chestnut.
Oh, it says Barnett.
Okay, good.
Well, it's confusing me, Todd.
Sorry.
So he's going to
Yeah,
be
no.
pulling off Barnett into there, or?
The front door of the house is 207 Barnett Street.
702.
Or 702.
2, right.
Sorry,
Okay.
dyslexic. Can't read.
This is Chestnut.
Chestnut's where it says sidewalk. That's Chestnut.
Oh, okay.
I guess for me, it's just not complete.
No, it's.
We don't see a drawing of the garage
We need the
or,
whole lot, so
and,
we kind of get an idea. This is kind of confusing.
yeah. This one here is just not complete. It's hard to pick up what they're trying to do, and we've had in the not so distant past approved a garage that we didn't have an actual clear design of the place, and seeing the elevations and things like that. I feel like we need to have a better idea as to what the garage itself would look like.
Okay, but not to bring up, you need to be consistent because last meeting you approved the donor house project without that same stuff.
The donor.
Yeah, but we know where it was at. You can see it had both property lines, so you can tell the orientation. This one is confusing on what the orientation is because the address of the house is 702 Barnett, so the front of the house is going to be facing the garage.
No. The front of the house is on 702 Barnett Street.
If you look at your sheet, the front of the house is on the left.
The front of the house is over here.
So where when remember I asked you this property line, said that was Chestnut, you said no, it was Barnett?
No, where it says sidewalk
Is
is Chestnut.
Right,
Property line is the line to the house next to it on Chestnut.
so it's going this way then.
It just depends how you want to look at it. If I look at it this way, I know this is Chestnut. Barnett's over here. You just indicated where
Going this way.
property address is. 702. Here's a map.
We're not the brightest there, Todd, that's
Well,
what
the
it comes
problem
down
is,
to. I'm having a hard time following it.
if this is.
Okay,
Chestnut-
that's fine.
That's,
Well, if this is Chestnut, this property line here is,
Which property line are you looking at?
there's only one.
This is the property line
There's two
that
of them.
divides the new house that sits over here on Chestnut. Did you drive by and look at this?
Well, yeah, but,
Okay,
Is this the property you just approved last year?
Yes.
then they divided it
And it's not
somehow.
the garage where we assigned the designated parking spaces, correct?
no,
It's
the
front.
designated parking places were up here off of Barnett Street. The designated parking places were back here on this side, off of Barnett.
going back to the consistency thing, this isn't very clear, I guess, is where I'm at. And that was discussed last week, we need to have a good idea as to what's going on and
Right, because the owner, the owner place did show all the property lines.
So this is the garage going to the right of the house?
Yes, if you're on Chestnut. If you're on
If I'm on Chestnut,
Chestnut,
here's the house here that faces Barnett.
yes, it'll be on the left.
The one that had to do the boundary
The garage will be
adjustment
on the right.
is still in question.
If you, the front door is on Barnett Street. The garages can be behind the house, with the exit coming in from Chestnut.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna agree with, Mr. Stoker. I'd really like to see this one complete, because when it came forth the first time, we only saw half of a photo, and I realize now he has a new legal description. I guess I would just like to see the complete picture as well.
well, we'll go
Because I didn't
ahead.
drive by, I walked
That's
by.
fine.
I walked.
We'll open this up for public comment, certificate number 2020027.
Well, Ed Mooney, I think I live down there, so I think I know what you're talking about. It's where they put the one manufactured, one modular.
The two manufactured homes.
Well, one's manufactured, one's modular.
To the exact same building,
Yes,
so
but they're not the same as far as the banks are concerned. Yeah.
that's not my concern.
No, I know, I'm just saying, one is manufactured, the one's modular. But the question I have, that I've been burning to find out, is that was one lot. And my wife walked by there a few days ago, and there's a stake in the ground, and I think this is the one that does come on Barnett, even though the map says it's fronting on Chestnut, whatever. But I'm still really curious, and I think maybe it pertains to this, is have they ever subdivided that lot? The realtors claim they're selling them separately.
I know a survey was completed. I do not know if it's been filed or not yet.
But they had to go through subdivision. They can't just do it with a COS, they only have one lot. They couldn't do a boundary adjustment or anything.
Well, that's up for debate with the surveyor.
Well, the surveyor is,
But that's the different.
yeah, no, they've got to do a minor subdivision.
I'm not gonna do it.
They can't just do it with a certificate of survey. Unless they're doing boundary adjustments or something.
Family land transfer.
Huh?
Family transfer.
There's all kinds of exemptions.
Well, yeah, no, I understand that. But there should be some record of those family transfers, or whatever it is.
And I don't know if they record it.
Yeah, there'd be a question before somebody signs the COS, you know, or something too.
All right, are there any other public comment on certificate number 2020027? All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment on certificate number 2020027. So we're lacking information? Clarity.
Table for clarification and legal for proper setbacks.
It's been moved to table certificate number 2020027 by Russ. Seconded by Jackie. Question's been called for. All those in favor of tabling certificate number 2020027, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Passes unanimous. Next item up would be update. I guess we just need to determine the new date for the public hearing, that's correct?
Yeah, I just put it on there just as we move through the different phases. June 1st, they're opening up to 50 people. I don't know if you want to,
But it's still 6 foot.
but still 6 feet.
6 foot spacing in that. And
Yeah.
I think that unless we move to a bigger place to have the hearing, I think more people will show up than this building will accommodate. Keeping the 6 foot spacing is still required in phase 2.
Unless
If
we
you
do,
have groups of 50, we still have to social distance.
right, unless you do outdoor seating, and you just call them in one at a time, if the weather's nice.
Oh, it's true,
Okay, no, it's fine, I put it on there.
Right, well,
And we'll continue to do that.
I think, yeah, and I think we're still too early to call for a hearing that would bring, realistically, 25, 30 people anyway. I would assume, what was here the last time they had that hearing? It was fairly, pretty good people, bunch of people. And I don't know if that'd even really be fair to have people wait outside and not really come and listen to the comments either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So I think realistically, we need to wait until, see what next month brings, maybe
I
they'll.
mean, we've waited for this long,
Right, well.
it's a few more months.
Right.
I mean, really.
Right.
It's not like we're holding them up by not doing it.
No, it just, yeah, I just think in all fairness of all the people concerned, we need to wait till we can have a fair hearing. Just, unless, like I said, maybe we could have it marked someday, I guess, or something. I don't know if that's feasible, nice weather outside.
The county needs the courthouse.
Yeah,
The one gentleman does live in the county, that one's property is in the county. Good for thought.
So at this point, maybe get their feedback, Todd, does that make sense?
Sure.
Maybe reach out to them and see if they wanna try to move it along sooner than later, or if they would be okay waiting for a month or two.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
well, I suspect by the end of June, we'll be into better traditions, better.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And at this point, I would think we're looking at next fall, to be honest with you, because they're gonna be in the middle of harvesting and the various farm activities that
well, and
are.
it's been that way for 100 years now, so another 3 months or whatever it'll be, I mean.
Is there any public comment On item number E. All right, so just move forward. Keep that on the agenda and we'll keep talking about it.
Have you, I guess we've already got a zone two that we're looking at, are we down there?
Yeah.
Have you zone and stuff, or we haven't had to do any improvements on that yet, have we?
No, we haven't. That's a good point.
We could actually bring that in and talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's my fault, because I was thinking, I was tying everything together.
Right, but we could go ahead and talk about
We still talk about the
that.
zoning too.
It'll require a public hearing, but it won't require a hearing for us to discuss it, and we can look a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, moving on. F, review zoning commission bylaws.
Yeah, in your packet last meeting, but just didn't have a chance to review them. Asked for a little more time to.
Well, we've already kind of gone over these, haven't we?
Yeah.
About 500 times.
Yep. And what the plan is go through them all, Board of Adjustments, Planning Board,
Right.
zoning, and then present them to the council all at the same time.
If I recall, didn't you have a suggestion the last time we looked?
Yeah, truly, if we look at Article 3, Section 4, terms of officers, that's a 1, I need a 1 in bracket, please. Article 5
Slow down.
doesn't exist.
So don't start as fast as you were.
Come on.
So Article 4, which one?
No, I'm at Article 3, bottom of the page, Section 4,
Slow down.
It's on the
terms
front page,
of officer.
on the very front page of the.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Are also known as page 1 and page 8, City of Dillon Zoning Commission Draft 4/14/2020.
It was a long weekend. Give me a break.
Really?
I graduated, so give me a break.
Oh man, I was in retirement next.
He's out of kindergarten.
I know, right? He's in the real world.
Okay, I'm caught up now.
I just need a number 1 down there. It's spelled out. Just for consistency with other documents.
Okay.
I don't know what page it is. Okay, I put page 5 of 8. We go
City of
Article
Dillon?
4 to Article 6. I need a 5 in there. Make one up. Or swap something out.
Let's see, Article 5, Russ has to speak the minimum of.
Hold on, I'm not done. Zip it. And then page 6 of 8, section 3, special meetings. Bracket number 2, bracket. I'm done.
So at this point, you're just wanting us to vote to send these to city council, is that what it is?
Yep. With corrections.
With amendments.
With amendment.
So move.
It's been moved by Russ. Well, I guess we gotta open up for public comment, so we gotta do that first here. So any public comment on F? All right, we'll close public comment on letter F. And it's been moved by Russ to send the new bylaws with amendments to the city council for their approval, and seconded by Raymond. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, unanimous. Passes. Send it on. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Next up would be G, discussion of zoning code violations and enforcement.
In your packet are some of the various things that were worked on, by Mr. Dillon. One of them is a draft zone penalties, July 11th, 2019. I think it's probably really the last time we made any major discussion upon this project. Well, this is Mr. Goldman's baby, so.
He's not even here to
Nope.
present the baby. Any specific questions or discussion?
I guess the first question, or, I don't, is this going to be classified as a misdemeanor or a civil penalty? I don't like the idea of a misdemeanor, but I think it's probably necessary.
I think back in 2015, I think, the conversation started on enforcement. And whenever you say enforcement, you got two options, misdemeanors or civil. And if you wanted to get the police or somebody to put strength into it, it's criminal. So,
See, and back then, I believe I argued that I didn't think we should be having misdemeanors, but since then I've changed my mind. I think that the only legitimate way that we're going to be able to enforce this is to make it a misdemeanor. Otherwise, it's going to require civil action in the court, and we all know how long it takes to get civil action done. If it's a misdemeanor, it can be a ticketed offense, go directly to court. I don't like it, but I can't see any other logical way to enforce this, you know. We only have one attorney to do civil stuff, and that's quite an action to do. So, I don't know.
Does somebody want to have Mr. Dolan here to kind of weigh in on some of this stuff before we get too carried away?
I think we can get kind of many carried away and send this to Mr. Dolan, so when he comes back to the next meeting, he knows what we're talking about. You know, kind of have an idea what to look up. It'll take 2 weeks off in the discussion, you know what I mean? If we come next week and we discuss it, so I guess the number one thing for me, and I don't know if we want to write them down, but, you know, or do we want to kind of take a light vote on this stuff, on whether or not civil or criminal? I guess we need to kind of make up our mind which way we want Mr. Dolan to be working.
I guess that's why I would like him here to know what the difference is. To me, that makes a difference to hear what his legal opinion is between the two.
pretty much civil money. It's all your option. Or you can force them with injunction and that to stop doing something, or they have to do something.
But that's,
With a mandate kind of thing. That's civil. Or criminal, they can be in jail. If you guys want to add that into it.
see, and I wouldn't look into adding jail time. I think criminal with penalty strict.
But it would go on the record as a misdemeanor.
Well, the big difference is, though, if it's civil, the only way we can get anything done is to hire an attorney or get Mr. Dolan is, I don't know, what's it been, 4 months to collect a civil penalty for not paying sewer bills, or 5 months? It's a pretty long drawn out process. If it's a criminal offense, it's longer than that. If it's a criminal offense, a misdemeanor, we can actually assign or get one of the local officers can come down and write a ticket, just like a traffic ticket or whatever, and that would go directly into city court. And then
But if you fight it, it goes months.
What's that?
If they decide to fight it in court.
Right, well,
Then it goes months.
but still,
It can't be settled
but the
fast.
process that started, it seems like a civil process sometimes takes 6 months to get started, or longer. What's that?
Keep in mind, the first time home buyer that builds a deck on their home is now a criminal. And in our ordinance, it says that every day that goes by is also another criminal action. So it is punishable by a fine up to $500 and jail time. So you're now making somebody a criminal because you actually cite them for putting a deck on their home or something like that.
Well, it's, the same criminal as the guy that gets a speeding ticket for. I mean,
I'm just saying.
I agree with
Civil is you send them a letter, and then they either
Then they-
respond, and if they don't, you take it to the courthouse, and then the judge is involved. That's a civil action.
Right, send a demand letter.
I guess the piece that I feel like needs to be talked about probably more than anything is how we're gonna enforce this. Because you can set all the rules and regulations that you want, but if you're not gonna enforce it, then it doesn't do you any good. And that's been a thing we've talked about a lot, so is that something
And
that
that's different from criminal and civil.
is
Criminal
easier to enforce?
is
Is
a
that
lot
what you-
easier to enforce because a police officer can write a ticket.
Hmm?
Civil has to be done through courts. You have to get your attorney to file the papers, the papers have to be served, you send a demand letter first, I guess is the proper thing. And then they ignore you in 30 days or 20, whether you get 20 days or 30 days to ignore you. When you're civil, when you send a lawyer demand letter. And so then after that time, then you get the attorney again, who's busy doing all this other stuff, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks or a month, oh yeah, I gotta go file this, and then they're served again, and it's another 30 days plus until they have time to answer.
That's if the fine is over 500, yes?
Yes.
Because I just look at Dillon and other communities like weeds. Yards are not mowed over 8, receive a letter. They receive a second letter which is sent certified. The third time the city employees go mow it, it goes $300 directly to Department of Revenue and is put on their taxes. No court, no lawyer, no police. You collect your money when they pay their taxes.
Is that a working zoning violation?
I think.
Well, that wasn't zoning.
That's not nuisance.
Yeah.
That'd be shame like shoveling your sidewalks.
Yeah.
It fits into that category.
Which are misdemeanors.
Well, a violation of such ordinances, regulation made pursuant to this in the city and town council or other legislative body may provide for punishment therein by fine or imprisonment or both. So you can actually make this as fine only and be no imprisonment if it's criminal or misdemeanor.
Yeah, you could set whatever penalty, up to 500 and up to 6 months in jail.
But you don't have to.
Sorry, I laugh at Eric. I mean, home improvement. I'm going to jail. I'm sorry. I mean, there's a point of plain ignorance and stupidity and everyone looking the other way, which has gone on for 10, 15 years. So all of a sudden now, here comes the law enforcement. Guess what? You're being arrested and 20% of your other town did shit. I'm sorry. This is a sensitive topic to me. If I wasn't assigned here, I would sure as the hell would not be here. I'm sorry. 12 plus years on the zoning commission, meaning Jack. And we know Jack's last name. Stupidity. Okay, I think clarification from Mr. Dillon going A or B, I would really like it, but I'd like it to see it be enforced. I don't care either way. I just want accountability. We drag people through the mud, whether I agree or disagree, with formalities. I can go down this town, any street, and I'll find you something that's not legal. And I don't look. I'm like everyone else. I get in my car, point A, point B. I don't care, as long as the roads don't give me a flat tire. Okay? But I think either way we go, let's just be frickin' consistent and actually enforce it. And I guess that's where I'm at, Mr. Dillon here, because I see both sides, I really do. I guess maybe it comes down to say, here's an example.
Yeah. I see both sides too, but I also see the way it is right now, it's enforced civilly. When was the last time a zoning violation was enforced? On it? I mean, how many things have we seen since then that's got done? And the city attorney come in, the last thing we had concerned about, well, if he got it built already, we can only enforce it if we can catch him before he got it built. We had no. So civilly is not a way to enforce it. It's not, I mean, it's just not gonna happen, I'm sorry. Unless, you know, we can come up with a miraculous big budget for the city attorney's office and hire an attorney that only does civil stuff. I mean, right now, we have one city attorney who takes care of all the criminal, all the civil, and everything else that comes his way. So, civil is not, you know, I would ideally like to see a violation being treated like a speeding ticket. They give him a ticket, the guy comes in and talks to the judge and says, look, I know I did wrong, I'm sorry, I'll apologize. I'll fill out the zoning paper to make it right, and the judge looks at him and says, okay, suspended sentence. Take care of it, make it right. And I would like to see a couple of times people say, oh, they're serious about that. Maybe there wouldn't have to be any more tickets wrote. The only time you get a ticket is somebody who just refuses to follow the rules. You know, most of the time, I see violations is because they don't know they have to get a permit. And so, with them people, the police can give them a ticket, they can come in and plead their case to the judge. You know, if they want to fight it, and they're more than welcome to get a jury trial or whatever they want to do, and go through the steps, whatever they want to do, or they can come in and say, God, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't realize I had to do this, and what can I do to make it right? And she can say, well, go see Mr. Hazelbaker, fill out the forms, and if everything goes good, I'll suspend the sentence or drop the charges. That's the way that works. And then you get somebody else who comes in and says, you know, go to wherever, I can do what I want on my property, I want to go to court, and that's their other option. I mean, they have the option to do whatever they want, but I would hope to think that most people who do this are doing this because they don't know the rules. And again, these rules cannot be enforced civilly. We've been 10 years trying to get a civil something with, you know, we've done one thing and
No, I'm grateful for this. It's a great start. I really am. I hate to see the police force have to do it, give us more overtime.
well, I hate to see that too, but again.
I would sooner see them deal with the speeders going down Kentucky to the point where I actually push my car out in the street and almost get it hit to slow down the traffic because the neighbors had kids.
You know,
I mean, it's sad. And I hate to see the police being used for something that's city.
then we'll just have to either make up our minds if we want to try to enforce it, or if Wayne will try to enforce it. Civilly is not going to work, that's on the books already, and it's never been done, and unless we can afford to hire someone to do it, it'll never get done.
Todd, can you triple your law degree?
Well, I mean, like I said, a few years ago, I would have argued the case it should be civil, but since then, I see how the civil has been done. It's not getting done, it can't get done, there's just not enough time for one attorney to do everything that needs to be done. Todd sends out, how many letters did you send out on this fence issue over here?
Bob said 2.
I thought-
Then they're done one.
Well, I thought there was more than 2.
Oh, yeah, there were 4.
Okay,
total
how
ones.
many responses have you got?
We got 3 of the 4.
Okay, well, I guess that's better than average, but
The
still.
main one has not responded.
And what's gonna happen if you don't respond? I mean, honestly.
Another letter.
Yeah,
And then how many letters? I mean, really honestly, what's
yeah, I
gonna
can
happen?
continue to
In the
say.
end, is we gonna get the city attorney to go down and start the civil process? I mean, honestly, no.
I wouldn't say that.
No.
I've gotten down on the police, and if you guys want to keep it civil, we can do it civilly. I mean, we can. It's up to you guys. Like, a pet peeve of mine was when somebody would drive across the street and park the wrong way. Okay,
I see it every day.
And yes, I've had the police go out. Notice if you want to look in the past minutes of the council meeting, the numbers went up. They're out ticketing people, and they still do it.
No.
Oh, yeah. I can show you a lot of places in town they do that. I watch it every day.
I can show you a lot of places they're not.
Well, I'd like to see it, because I haven't
Well,
found
it's,
a spot in town that they're not doing that.
but
So-
again, it's the same thing.
And so they're not stopping. By putting it to the police, the only thing that really changes is if you make criminals, they can do it.
Right.
They can go give a ticket versus Todd and the attorney having to write letters and start the process. But we can do that. I'm not sure we can afford it, but we can do it. Because all you're gonna collect, we can do it. And the way it's wrote down, it's every day, but when does the time start? That's a legal thing. Does it start the day that you noticed it? Does it start the day that you can determine they put it in without knowing that they might have broke the rule? What time starts when you start talking about money? And then you're talking 500 a day, and let's say it went 6 months. Now you're buying a house, or you're getting a house for fees.
See,
You know,
again.
but it comes down then, at that
criminal
point, the judge, and the judge can say dismiss, and then all the time that we did goes away.
Right. Now, criminal is a parking ticket. It goes to the judge almost instantly. And hopefully it's settled without a fine or whatever, and
So what I'm trying to say is, any way you guys choose, there's gonna be time spent on it.
right.
I mean, what Raymond's saying, if they just went in and paid it, you're right, it goes away fast and it's done. But if they don't, it's not that much faster by using a criminal misdemeanor than a civil. Civil is still longer, I'm not disagreeing, but
It never happened. I mean, that's, I can't make that point any clearer. Here we are, I've been on the zoning commission now, what, a day or two, anyway. I don't know, I've been following the zoning commission now for 14 years, and I can honestly say I only know of one time anything's ever stopped anything in the 14 years I've been here. And that was a house on Barnett. Two, what was the other one?
Cease and desist. Rocky Mountain, the parking lot edition.
and when did those two happen?
Well, that's 2 in 14 years, but I mean, how many things have we seen since then that's going on that's,
How many cease and desist did this happen? That's, so we just go to a judge and get a cease and desist and send it to them. I mean, that's a simple action.
Yeah. And we could start doing that.
That's a letter you print and take to the courthouse.
Or you just, I don't even think the rules say you take it to the courthouse. You just take it to the place that they're in violation, and you staple it to the door. Unless it's a fancy door, then you
Take it.
tape it.
well, seeing that takes care of the big stuff, but the little stuff that's going on, there ain't gonna be no cease and desist, because the last little thing that went on, if you remember the little small house down there,
Yeah.
we were basically told the cease and desist won't matter because it's already done, and once it's done, the cease and desist, and so whatever happened, we
Circumstances was different on that. If you remember back, there was different circumstance on that. And that's why a cease and desist didn't get sent.
okay,
It's called the evolution of a shed.
well,
Wait till the second story comes.
it's still evolving.
Well, I thought the second one would go 3 and 4.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and open up public comment on G. Discussion of zoning code violations and enforcement.
I've had a little experience, like Raymond and Russ. We started down this road, how many years ago, 5?
For you, yeah.
More than that, maybe. When we were first implementing the code, it made to the top of the list. But I'm like Raymond, I've heard the whole time that the current ordinance can't be executed. And I've never quite understood why that is, that you can't send somebody a letter and warn them, and then the attorney sends them a letter. You know, Todd's got a form letter he sends out. If they don't respond, the attorney sends them a letter telling them that the fines have started and it's X dollars a day. That's exactly what the county does with the sewer, location of sewer and water on lots and subdivisions and things. And they escalate it to the point that they need to get some action. So I've never quite understood that. On the other hand, you know, personally, I'm in favor of anything that can get some results and get the word out. I think the Barnett event started to have a big impact, got a lot of people's attention, but then there was nothing. You know, I think if that momentum had been built on, things might be a little different. But that's then and this is now. I just wanted to point out a couple of things in the Montana Code annotated. 76-2-308 talks about enforcement of zoning regulations, and paragraph 1 says city, town, or other legislative body can provide those. But then paragraph 2 says, in case any building, structure, erected, reconstruction, altered, so on and so forth, in violation of the ordinance or other regulation made under authority conferred hereby, the proper legal authorities may, in addition to other remedies, may institute appropriate action or proceeding to prevent such unlawful erection, construction, reconstruction, yada, 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 or maintenance or use to restrain, correct, or abate such violation, meaning you can make them tear it down. And I know of a couple of instances that I perhaps when we were Bozeman that happened. To prevent occupancy of such building, structure, land, or to prevent any illegal act, conduct business or use in or about such premises. And that just defines it. 76-2-315, which I think you may have been reading, or violations and penalties. One, a violation of this part, this is the zoning stuff in the MCA, or regulation made pursuant to 308, which I just read. One, is a misdemeanor. There's no question about whether it's a misdemeanor or not, according to the state law anyway. And such city or town council or other legislative body, that's where it gets tricky, may provide for the punishment thereof by fine or imprisonment or both. But there's no question, and if I'm reading this right, I'm not a lawyer, but it seems to read pretty clearly, a violation is a misdemeanor. And paragraph 2 says, it is also empowered to provide civil penalties for such violation. So I would think that the question of whether it is a misdemeanor or not is pretty well settled by state law. The thing that's always stuck in my mind was where we left it, or where it was left when I left the zoning commission, was Mr. Dillon had presented Hamilton's code to us. And I still think it reads pretty well. It says whether a violation, it's short, whether a violation of this chapter occurs or is alleged to have occurred, any person may file a written complaint. The complaint stating fully the cause and basis of violation to the zoning administrator, who shall properly record the complaint and immediately investigate. The penalties is the important part, I think. One, violations or provisions of the ordinance codified in this chapter, including violations, conditions, safeguards, and so on.
Dr. Mooney, I know you're reading this, but it's in their packet.
Oh, the Hamilton one is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it is, okay.
Well, just
I
what
didn't-
you're
Sorry to
reading.
interrupt you.
No, well, thank you.
No, just what you're reading is in the
Yeah,
packet.
yeah, I didn't see it in the packet. I saw the draft that Mr. Owen put in there before. So anyway, I think the point is that that Hamilton says it is a misdemeanor, it may also be civil, and it's $500 for each offense, which is, each day is an offense, if they're convicted, if I remember right.
But each day such violation shall be considered a separate
Yeah,
offense.
yeah. And that's what the county does. I think, last time I talked to them, it was $200 a day, once they were notified that they were not in compliance, until they corrected the offense. So, and I think the draft that you're looking at is pretty consistent. It's a lot more detailed, but looks like it's pretty consistent with what Hamilton does. Maybe not a bad approach. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment?
Thank you for stopping me. I was clear back in 2016.
All right, we'll go ahead and close the public comment on item G. Any more discussion?
I think we've got enough for the attorney to look into until he sees this again. I mean,
And I truly believe we did attempt to create such not truly a self-reporting form, but a citizens form. And if you don't remember, there was a lot of fallout. That was like the first of the year.
Yeah, before.
yeah.
Yeah, so we did create that letter, and it just like, it went flat.
It wasn't a bad starting point.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm just bringing it up, because Todd did at least attempt, so thank you.
So would we like to do something more with that letter? I mean, I guess the biggest thing is getting the word out there that people need to, know where to go to find the letter, submit a complaint. If it's a neighbor that sees something that they have issues with, they can submit it over to Todd, and Todd can verify if it's a legitimate complaint or if it's not. Do you want Todd doing that every minute of every day, or?
Not really. And
Okay.
you really want neighbors turning neighbors in? Isn't that kind of turning Nazism?
No?
That's
And
the
that's-
strength of Nazis. And you really want to become them? I don't have a problem with us going around enforcing our code,
Mhm.
but to have neighbors that get involved in it, that just to me turns wrong. That's me, that's my opinion.
And that was one of the major issues. It's kind of like we have the citizens complaint form where people will call and say, hey, this is going on in this neighborhood. And one of the concerns that I thought about is that there are individuals in the community that I'd be worried about becoming the watchdogs. As the mayor said, they may live over here, I live in Ivyville. Yeah, I'm calling, yeah, I'm finding places over here on the east side that would be the concern.
Well, I think it's also, I respect that, because we have a lot of absentee landlords.
Yes.
Yes,
Look at our
that's
percentage of rentals versus residents.
Yes.
That is a big challenge in itself, folks. I mean, you can ask the water department, you can ask the mailman people, that deliver. I mean, we have a large percentage per capita of absentee, unfortunately, and that's the folks we gotta start communicating with and informing. And that's the big challenge I see.
I received my first complaint, not sure complaint, but it was, about some property in Ivyville, about the lawn. It's an absentee owner, they live in Illinois. So I have to send a letter to Illinois to get their attention. And I'm hoping that they care enough about their property that they will contact the kids living in the house to say, hey, if you want to continue living here, look at this in the contract, or. But I appreciate though also those absentee owners, well, they're not absentees, if they go through one of the services in the community that does the rental, because that gives me a point I can call the person
Manager.
that, okay, this is the situation we have here, we're not shoving the walks, can you help with And they've all been good at doing it. But yeah, when the actual absentee, we got some guy in Illinois who may not give a shit. So,
Or Idaho or California.
Yeah.
And that's where a fine would be nice. Absentee or not.
Well, for cutting grass, there is no fine, aside from if we have to
Right,
send our
right.
crew down, you fine them for that.
Right, but as far as zoning, I mean, absentee owners are the same thing with zoning, they just, you know, who cares going out there, we ain't gonna worry about it.
And a lot of enforcement in cities is driven by complaints.
Right, well,
The trailer parked on the street,
right.
blocking
And I don't know,
blocking your driveway, that kind of stuff.
You know, this might be something maybe in, of course, it's a zoning issue, but in a letter tell them, you know, ain't fixed in 7 days or whatever the law says, we will send the city down there and fix it, and our fees are set out at whatever they are, and we have fees for them when they go down to the street. People have to go down and repair the street, or take care of the street, the weeds, and park people. So we have a fee set out at X amount of dollars an hour, minimum amount of, whatever the hours are, and.
yeah,
Yes.
And so
Yes.
mention that in the letter, in 7 days, we're gonna take enforcement action, where we sending you a bill for
Well, we have to follow the code,
whatever the, well,
and its code is 1 letter, 2 letters, then we can.
well, whatever it is.
and then the third one's a certified letter.
Right,
And then we do it.
but,
So we follow the rules, and there are some that we, in fact, there are some that we head on down, and we're getting ready to.
well,
And they drive up with their own, and so we
that's
back
not
them
the
up
zoning
and
thing, but
finish.
if we could do the same thing with the zoning,
But I can tell you now, there are probably gonna be 5 letters that I know I will send out to,
same,
that I have sent for the last 5 or 4 years.
same people, don't.
Same people, same property, same, and we'll get to that 3rd letter and the next thing you know, it's done. But it's always, it's gonna be the same people, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
And it was like with Russ changing the zoning on Kentucky, people coming down the hill. Thing is, every time we send the police down, they don't catch anybody.
Because they see the police.
That's right, they see them, there's a lot of black marks on Kentucky, or out on, as they're slowing down.
No, we just call those our sewer lines that go out, and you physically see heavy equipment get airborne and come right down your 3 sewer lines, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm held liable for that. Thanks, City of Dillon. And I mean, that's the velocity of the traffic. When you see heavy equipment airborne on my sewer hookup, you're damn right I'm a bitch. This weekend I was with the garbage counter and say, I pay taxes, do you? It was the first time I was pissed at the county people. 4 phases of Fox Run. So disrespectful. I relate because I was county. But then I got forced in. So yeah, do I get pissed? Damn right. Luckily I don't have pets anymore because they'd be dead. That's why we loved our chickens down there. And once again, for the record, I was not opposed to chickens. They control the speed traffic on Kentucky. It's the truth. Them and the damn rabbits.
I got a rash of rabbits just turned up at the ranch and somebody decided to bring me, you want?
We only have 3 and they've all had their shots. Sorry.
You want some of mine? I got about 30.
No,
I'll
sir.
bring them down to you.
But I mean, that's just some of the prime examples. I realized at the last council meeting, Chief Garverson said 1 of every 2,000. We had that traffic this weekend. The velocity that goes up to Fox Run is unreal, y'all. 4 phases up there now.
Well, and there's the Sweetwater Estates further up too.
So I mean, there's a lot of traffic anymore on our streets.
There it is.
And Lord knows, we can see streets and alley have their hands full. You know, so if there's any way that we can help curb that, I think it's a blessing.
Roundabout,
Unless we put a toll booth or a roundabout down there.
roundabout.
I like roundabout. Pulling at each end of Kentucky. And at night when there ain't nobody around, it makes a nice racetrack.
We just think a lot of.
We've already
stuff
had
in the
that.
middle.
15 years ago. That's why you don't see people parked on the streets down there. That and the DUIs.
So I guess to sum everything up, we need to talk, we need to get the city attorney in here to talk about enforcement, what's the best way to enforce this. And if he feels like we need to go to a misdemeanor approach, then let's go that route. You know, if he doesn't, then the biggest thing is we just need to start having it, you know.
We'll get him there for the next meeting.
Yeah, make it clear to him that it's more about enforcement. If we can enforce what we currently have, let's just do it. If we need to do something different to start enforcing it, let's make that change. And I feel like if he comes in with the best strategy that he sees that would give him or the city the best tools to do that, let's hear what he has to say.
Here.
All right. Sounds good. We want to move on? All right. Next item, public comment on items of significant public interest not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the zoning commission.
I'll hold you guys. All right. There's only one thing I won't make it take too long so we can talk about it, so I kind of do this late. And it mostly goes up because it comes up every time, at least we put in a zoning application, and it's setbacks. So I heard it one time tonight, I'm not picking on random, but I think there should be 10 feet between every setback, right? But that's the reason we have zones and districts and areas. A residential 1 zone is different than a residential 2. So if the setbacks in a district are 5 feet and 20 from the front, then you are. And then same deal with you. I get it, backing out over a sidewalk or not having the sidewalk shown in the drawing. If it shows a 66-foot street, the sidewalk's in the boulevard. That's part of the street, 66 feet. 8 feet of it usually is the boulevard where the sidewalk goes. So I can address that one real quick. But any house that has a garage that faces the street, you back out across the sidewalk. There's just no way around it. It's in the boulevard. So that's just a couple things. So every time we put an application, every time it comes up, it's a dispute of the setbacks, or should they do this or shouldn't they do this, or can you park in the front or can you not park in the front? And I think most of the districts, if it's not in the zoning district, if it's not described specifically, then you can say, look, general use says you got to have 20 feet on the side, or in agriculture it's 40 feet in the front or something like that, right? But if it's, that's the only thing I guess is, I don't know if it's going to be like this every single time, or if we're going to follow the setbacks and parking rules and everything that's actually described in the districts that we apply to. So that's, I guess, just food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. And any other public comment at this time?
Real quick, next meeting's June 9th, and we're looking at trying to get Kelly Lynch on June 15th, which is a Monday, approximately from 1 to 4. Length just depends on her time frame. We're looking at doing that by Zoom. So what we would do is we would meet here, she'd be up on the screen by Zoom, and then we would talk to her through Zoom. With the idea that before that meeting, we'd get whatever questions we would like to have her address, so she doesn't show up and kind of looks at us and we're looking at her, so we give her some talking points.
So if we all bring beer and I'm like having a good time, we'll see us in person.
Possibility, yeah.
Okay.
What does this Miss Lynch do?
She is the attorney for the Montana League of Cities and Towns. She's an expert in zoning, planning, land use, those type of things. Very personable. I think it'd be very beneficial to. And it would be a meeting of the zoning, planning, and board of adjustments.
Wouldn't we do that for home?
Oh, yeah, I guess you could.
Each person would have to have a device. If we
No.
do a Zoom.
No.
You're gonna do it more like a conference call.
Well,
Yeah,
With
so
her
we
on-
could set up.
With her on the video though?
Yeah.
Right.
you guys wouldn't have to come, you could all do it from home or wherever you want.
Yeah.
You know, rather than come here, or you can come here. The problem with the Zoom meeting is a lot of people don't understand. When you have a Zoom meeting, You have to have somebody available at City Hall or someplace for the people who do not have access to Zoom. You cannot have a meeting strictly by Zoom. You have to have an office and somebody has to be physically here or wherever for a Zoom meeting, so.
But you want to collect questions beforehand? too,
Yes.
right? Talk about-
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so she
At
has.
least to maximize her time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like, and it's, and I guess it'd be nice to have everybody in the same room at the same time, so if she brings up a point, we're all hearing it at the same time, we can discuss it. It's hard to discuss stuff on Zoom.
Well, it'd be nice if we could get her to come down, but. we don't
Well, yeah,
can't.
yeah.
Right,
because of the-
just because there's a lot of difference in your meetings on Zoom than in person. You know, it's more relaxed, you can sit back, and I hate Zoom, I hate talking to it, I hate.
I got a feeling you're not a fan of technology.
I don't mind technology, but if, you know, Russ says something I don't like, I can throw something at him. If I throw something that means on Zoom, I break my TV.
Well,
Or computer,
that is
whatever.
true.
No video, mute.
Is there a possible way to
No,
record that event on June 15th
oh, yeah,
for those of us I have
Yeah.
to teach?
yeah, no, that's no problem.
We'll set it up on our account as soon as we turn it off, it saves. So
That's
then
what-
we can have that, the Zoom meeting at least.
Correct.
We'll have that on probably the website for anybody that wants to
And
get.
can we, find a way to plug the computer, the audio?
I'm trying to work the
computer
thing.
into this?
We had it so the video, audio will get onto the recording. That was the time before. But as soon as we hook a microphone up, we can only put one input in here.
Right.
So, you know, input or output, we can either take it out from there to the speaker and record it, or we can take a microphone in, come into it. Can't do both because the feedback was crazy. And as soon as somebody talked, everything was biting up on them. It was loud. So,
So. would it
we're
be
working on
possible-
trying to get an output that we can put up there somewhere, a speaker set that will come only from that, USB speakers kind of thing. So then everybody can hear, we'll have this being recorded, the output.
The last time we had that, and you couldn't hear and they couldn't hear it, I mean, we stopped.
We're working it, we think we're getting.
How about if we
it.
had set two computers up, one with a mic and one with a speaker?
That was the other option. Put one here and one down there,
Yeah.
and both hook up to the same Zoom meeting.
One we can listen to and one they can listen to. Because I imagine they had, could you hear us when you was at the Zoom meeting at home? You could
And
hear
we just
us?
had a hard time hearing them.
Okay.
No, that's the thing you don't realize, that because a lot of you have this effect going on here, and I don't hear a dang thing, I see your mouth moving,
Right.
because I watch Jeremy's, even though he's a slight delay, and it's like going, oh, look at Raymond came into the city council meeting very quietly, no one said hi Raymond or anything else, I saw you sit down. When things happen over here out of sight, on Zoom, it's like going, okay, they're laughing, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah,
those
what's
of us
unusual?
on the Zoom, we are at one level. And we hear each other very easily. You all sit out here and you hear yourself at a different level. That's the only difference between the Zoom. It's like I'm truly on the phone last week with Matt and Donnie, and then we're all like listening to you. That's one thing with Zoom.
We
And
couldn't
then
hear you
secondly,
guys very good.
you all gotta hit that mute button. Okay?
Yes.
And if you put the camera up a little bit, you don't get the double channel. Just saying.
Has to do with shadowing.
Or get some of that tape, that the city has. Just take it out.
Why do you have to hit the mute button?
If you don't hit mute, I hear
You hear
rocking
everybody
in a
talking.
chair, I hear you passing gas. I mean, I hear this constantly. Rich, I love you, buddy, but put the papers down.
Yeah. We hear Marge Jappy's dog barking.
Oh, yeah.
Marge calling the
Telling
dog.
her,
Yeah.
Sassy, you're sassy.
That's why I was hoping you were Zooming this. I told Marge and told her to get on there, we can all call her dog.
all right, any other public comment at this time?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Raymond, second by Russ. All those in favor say aye.
I'm Ron Carroll, owner of Emporium 406, where you'll find unique vintage and contemporary goods. Products like autographed celebrity memorabilia and framed vintage posters. We also have a magic shop where you'll find the new children's book, Marvelous Marvin's Magical Moment. At Emporium 406, you'll also find a full line of made in Montana products and home decor. Items such as painted windows, barnwood and tin goods, fleece blankets, designer pillows, jewelry, small furniture, and so much more. Emporium 406 at 23 South Idaho Street, Dillon's premier made in Montana gift store.